Hello everyone. I'm covering the creation of custom-made gems and components in C++. I will be using Cmake, Visual Studio and the Visual Studio 17 build system. This is what you can expect by the end of the video. You will need O3DE engine already installed, as well as your first project. You will then start by creating a code gem with the available default template. The last folder is the gem name. Next, you register your new gem and check the project.json file of your project. You are looking for the external subdirectories. Your gem should now be registered underneath it. Go to the root of your project and build your gem. Notice the target is your gemname.editor, not your project name. Open your engine, not your project, to gain access to the project manager. Search for Configure Gems under your project. Search for the name of your gem and activate it. If it is not there, start all over again because you did something wrong. If you are using Cmake and Visual Studio 17 build system, do not build your project here. Just close the project manager. Go to your engine folder and create your component inside your gem. You are using the available component template. Make sure the instantiation is successful. Search for the yourgemname_API_files.cmake file inside the code folder. Open it and add the include yourgemname_interface.h. Search for the yourgemname_private_files.cmake file inside the code folder. Open it. Add the source files now. Search for the yourgemname_moduleInterface.h file inside the code source folder. Open it and include your component header. Same thing for the yourgemname_moduleInterface.cpp file inside the code source folder. Open it and insert the component create descriptor. Next, search for your component name plus the component.header. The component part is added by default. And open it. Comment out the existing declaration and set yours with a universal unique ID. Generated with Visual Studio by clicking Tools, Create Git, Registry Format, and copy-paste it. Search for your component name plus Component.cpp file inside the code source folder. Open it. Comment out that implementation. Navigate to your project directory. Cmake and build your project now. From now on, every time you build your project, you also build your gem. Go to your project directory and run the editor. In this case, I'm running on Vulkan instead of DirectX. Once it opens, choose any label you want. Create a new entity and search for your custom-made component. For now, it's empty, but it's good to know that everything is working. Now open your component name plus component.header file inside the code source folder. Add some variables as private. Open your component name plus component.cpp file inside the code source folder and search for the reflect method. separated into two, the serialized context and the edit context. Add the fields under the serialized context. They all must match with the other variables that you filled previously. Under the edit context, add a category and a subcategory to your component. This is optional. Next is the types of UI handlers for each of the variables. In other words, you are defining how the user interface will display the variable pickers in the O3DE engine. This is what will appear in the component. The examples that I tested so far are float, bool, entity ID, vector tree, quaternion, which is not displaying properly, a vector of entity ID or a list, and color picker. Now everything is done. Go to your project directory, Cmake and Build. Your gem is built along with your project. You don't always have to Cmake unless you make changes to the Cmake files, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Now we can run the editor again and check if everything is working. I will be using Vulkan again. Choose a level, create an entity, and search for your component. Notice that your component will now have category and subcategory. The component will also have the same UI handlers as the official components of O3DE engine. As you can see, you have an example of float, bool, entity ID, a vector of entities, a quaternion, which is missing the fourth value, and the color picker. I follow the O3DE engine instructions, but I will leave the instructions in the description below nevertheless. Since there are a handful of changes in the documentation, consider writing your own documentation. If you found anything unusual, please leave a comment if there is any step that can be improved or done differently. Any kind of suggestion is welcome. That is it for today. See you in the next video.